Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video we're going to be talking about subqueries and I'm so excited to be right back. I know it's been a minute, so let's jump right in. So by the right, this is a reference slide as usual. Everything on this slide we have talked about in great detail. So basically SQL, you select something from a table where some condition that you give it. We also have operators like union, union or except, or we've talked about all of these in great detail in previous videos. And then you can order your results using the order by keyword, and then you can also filter your results using group by and the having keyword. So today we'll be talking about subqueries, and it's really interesting topic to talk about. We are going to start talking about it using an example. Let us say that you are asked to find the title of the book with the maximum number of pages. Sounds really simple, but if you think about it for a minute, what it means is you want to know the maximum number of pages of all the books in your database, and then you want to find the title of the book that has this maximum number of page. So let's start by writing an SQL query that does this. So first off, you start from your select statement as usual. You want to select um, from. So we're using our book database. It has about 3 tables: author, books, and publishers. And in our book table, we have a page count, right? So that's the table we'll be using, book table. So we want to go select book dot books. I like to give aliases, so let's call it BK. So what I want to do is to find the maximum page count. So bk dot page count, and oh, and if I run this, I see that the maximum number of pages any book in our database has is 600. And this is interesting because now I can work with this number. So I want to find now the title of the book that has this. So it's going to be BK title. I want to select the title, and this is here because I just want to confirm that that book has 600 pages. I want to select it from this table where the BK dot page count is 600, as I've just seen, is 600. And if you run this, you get this. So the name of this book is History of the Ancient World. This is cool, but this is not cool. So even though we've gotten what we want, this is not cool for so many reasons. The first reason is that this is such a clumsy way of writing SQL, and that's because me looking at this query on my screen, it looks like the number 600 was just written from the top of my head. Um, First off, so that means that also if I updated my database frequently, this query would most likely still give us this result, but it's possible that um, that result will no longer be correct because maybe I now have a new book that has probably 1,000 pages, and that book is supposed to be returned, not this one. But because I have used the constant 600, because at the time I wrote this code, 600 was my maximum number of pages, it's still going to return this book, but would be a wrong answer at that time. So what do we do? This is where subqueries come in. Subquery simply means you want to replace this number 600 with the query that results to 600, or with the query that results to the maximum number of page. And that query is, let's put it down here, that query is select from book.books. one of the things I want you to always remember when you write subqueries is that your aliases should not be the same. Your aliases in your inner query and your outer query should be different. So let's use BK1. So I want to select the maximum BK1 dot page count from book.books BK1. This is great. And the next thing you want to do is to put this in a bracket. Think about mathematics, right? Board mass to be precise. When you put any number or any expression in a bracket, that expression gets evaluated first. So that's the same thing happening here. This query that we have put in a bracket, it's called the inner query. It's going to be evaluated first. And once it's evaluated, the result gets replaced in this position. And then our outer query gets evaluated equals the result from this inner query. So when we run this, we have the same result. But the great thing with our query written this way is that even if our database is updated, whenever we run this query, it's going to return the correct answer. And this is great. So I'm going to mention two other things that we'll talk about in depth in in this video, or probably in the next videos. I don't know when, but first off, we must not always have an equal sign here. It can be any of the comparators, like not equal to, or greater than, less than, greater than or equals, all of that. That could be here. Also, there are some cases where our result is more than one row. In this case, we have just one row in our result. But when you have more than one row and you want to filter it more, then you can introduce keywords like all, some, exists, in, here at this point. You can say equals some or equals all. For keywords like in or not in, you do not need a comparator. So you simply have the outer query in the inner query, or the outer query not in the inner query. So having said that, let me also say, before we move on to the next example, that this kind of subquery is called an independent subquery, and that's because our inner query is just run once, and the result is used to run the outer query. And as a pointer, you see that in our inner query, our alias, we do not have an alias that refers to the outer query. So that's a good pointer to show that this is an independent subquery. So let's move to our second result, our second example. Let's say we want to find the, let's say we want to find the title of the uh, book with the maximum number of pages per genre. Sounds very trivial, but when you think about it, it doesn't sound that trivial. That's because what this implies is that for each genre, you want to find the maximum number, the book with the maximum number of pages, and then you want to find the title of that book. So in our case, we have, just out of curiosity, I just want to see how many genres do we have. So let's say I run this. We have 36 genres. That's a lot. So this means that for each of our 36 genres, we want to find the maximum number of pages of all the books in each genre, and then the title. That's a lot. So what do we do? Can you pause this video for a minute, think about this question, and then what do you think? So it's possible that this is what you're thinking, right? It's possible that you're thinking about something like this. Say, select BK the title, because we want title, of course, and we want genre, and we want max BK the page count. and we want to select it from this table, and we want to, you remember, group by, and we want to group by bk.genre. Would this query work? Well, if you've been following these videos, a series of videos on SQL, you would know that this query would not work. And the reason is because it is not legal. If you run this, yeah, there's an error. And we have this error because when we use group by, SQL expects that everything we have selected besides the aggregate function should be here in the group by statement. So if we include bk the title, would it run? Yes, it would run, but the result would be inaccurate. And the reason is sometimes we could have two different titles that have the same number of pages. So this is inaccurate. So next, let's think about it a little bit more. And you're probably thinking about union, right? Using you're probably thinking about using union. So at this point, you're thinking about something that looks like this. Okay, so you're thinking about, let's say, you want to grab the title, you want to grab the page count. So let's say you want to grab bk.page count. Let's imagine that you want to write a subquery to find what the max is, right? So that means you want to grab it from this table where bk.genre is, let's say, health, because I see health in our previous results. Health. Let's see. Health, where the genre is health, and bk.page count is equals. Now we want to write the query that gives us. So let's go down from book.books. Remember, we don't use the same alias, so you want to say something like maybe bk1. So you want to come up here and say bk1 dot, where's my max? Max bk1 dot page count dot page count. Yep. Where bk1 dot genre is equals health. Oh, this is exhausting already, but yeah, let's see. That's health, and so I just want to check that my okay. So what this does is you want to select the title and page count from that table book where the genre is health and the page count is, then your inner query finds the maximum where the genre is also health, and then you might be thinking, oh, I would union this and then do exactly the same thing all over again. Let's say you want to copy this, place it here, and then you want to do the same thing for under genre. Let's call it, what do we have? Children. So you want to do that again for under genre called children. And this is so exhausting. Remember, we have 36 genres, so this is going to be mind-blowing. So you want to keep doing this 36 times. Now, this is so uncool. This is not cool. And that's for two reasons. As you've seen, I might have to write union, this expression 36 times. That's a lot. Um, and not only the repeating union 36 times. This is also not cool because I am writing in the genre like health, children, economics, technology. Then I have to write 36 of them. 36. In this case, I'm writing it twice per per substatement, right? So it means I'm going to be writing 36 times 2. That's 72. 72 times. This is a lot. So how do we write this in such a way that we maintain our sanity? So think about this like this. Let's think about this. Okay, we want to select bk.title, and we want to select bk.page count, and we want to select bk.genre from book.books bk, right? Alias bk, where bk dot genre, where a bk oh where a bk dot page count, actually, where a bk dot page count is equals maximum. So we want to write the subquery for maximum. So we want to put it in a bracket. So we say select max, and remember, we will be using a different alias. I always prefer to write my from first. So book.books. Let's call this bk1. So here I have bk1.page count. Okay, so want to select the maximum where the page count is maximum, and where page count is this number. So here we can add a where statement where bk1 dot genre is equals bk dot genre. This is fantastic. So let's look at this critically. What's happening here? We have an inner query and an outer query, and unlike our first example where our subquery was independent, this subquery is correlated. It's dependent, and let's talk about why. That's because our inner query has an alias that refers to the alias in our outer query. How does this work? Remember I said that we would evaluate the inner query first. So yes, we want to select the max page count from these table books. But now we want any genre we work with, bk1, right, to be equals bk genre. So at this point, at this where statement, remember at this point we already picked the genre. So where genre, let's say it picked health, is equals, I want to make sure that this is equals whatever genre it picked up here. So you have, so it goes up here and then it selects title, page count, but then it selects only health. So it selects title, page count for only health from this. So at this point, it selects the title page count for only health, and because it selected health here and these are equal, it gives us the maximum number of pages, and this runs for each of the genre until all of the genres has been evaluated. So let's run this, and we have let's see, for mystery we have the mystery of the lost village. We have, yeah, this is the one we had for across all genres. History of the ancient world has 600 pages. It's history. So we have all of this, and I think this is really beautiful. Let's see. Yeah. So this would be how you would write this query in such a way that, very simply, it it kind of reminds me of, like a loop. You tie, you reference the genre from the outer query in the inner query. So they have to agree. So once the two genres are the same, this evaluates. Once the two genres are the same, this evaluates. And I think this is really interesting. So subqueries must not always be used in the where clause. You can also use it as a scalar in the select clause. Now let's look at this example. Let's say we want to select, let's remove all of this. So let's say we want to select the title, the page count, and the max page count from books. But we don't know what this max page count is. So we can say we can put a subquery here. So we say select max, let's say page count, select max page count from book.books. I want to do this as max page. So when you run this, oh, my alias is gone. Okay, yeah. So our subquery here returns a number, a constant. But let's say we want to create an additional column that returns the maximum number of pages by the title of a book and its particular page count. And this might be useful. For example, if we wanted to find, let's say, the difference in the number of pages between a particular book and the biggest book we have. So maybe then we'd have a third column that says difference in pages. So we'd simply just say 600 minus 320, 600 minus 280, 600 minus the corresponding number of page for that book in that row. So it's possible to have, this is to say that it's possible to have a subquery as a scalar, or as to represent a constant in your select clause. The two examples we gave used this as use this in our where clause. So it's also possible to have a subquery um, as a table, to use our subquery as a table. So let's quickly write an example. Let's say we want to select, let's say, bk.genre. Let's say we want to select bk.genre from a table. And this is where our subquery comes in. So I want to say from, push this down. So you want to say from, let's say we want to select, okay. select, let's say, everything from book.books where page count, let's say page count is less than 200. So let's say we want to run this. So we want like a sub table from a table. So this returns everything from this table, but now with a condition where our page count is less than 200. So this is like a sub table. It's a subquery, but it returns like a portion of our table. And we want to select the genre we have. Let's say distinct. What genres have really little books? I would say distinct. So if you run this, we have about 4: classic, cooking, health, poetry. So these genres kind of have really small books. I'm going to end this video here. There's still so much more to be said about subqueries, and I will be doing a second video, but every other thing I have to say about subqueries will come in our next video, which will be a practice video. Practice with me, subqueries. So we'll write lots and lots of subqueries, and I'll see you on that next video. Have a good time looking at this one. And if you do have questions, comment, please put it in the comments section below. And if you haven't subscribed, do remember to subscribe. Sometimes I forget to say that.